some people coming in here, so I'm going to give Zoom a second. Zoom is Zoom. It's great. We love Zoom, but different devices, it's hard. Different internet speeds, it's hard. So I'll give everybody a second here. I know Shantrina's coming in. But we'll see, and then I'll look back. So yay. Welcome everybody. I know it's 6:03, so I wanted to rock and roll. I am clearly, my house does not look like a classroom. I am clearly still at school getting a bunch of work done. So I really appreciate you joining us tonight, and I am recording this. So if there's a piece that you've missed or something that you want explained again, or any of that you want to revisit, you can obviously watch the recording, and that is available by email. So just shoot me an email. I will also put it on our class YouTube playlist. So if you were able to watch the welcome videos for Spanish 1 when school started several weeks ago, those will be on this playlist. We're also at that time of day where the air conditioning is off, always exciting, and the lights are motion sensor. So if the lights go out all of a sudden, I have to like YMCA like 15 feet that way, and then I'll come back on. It's not how they fire you. The lights go off and here they are. So we'll give Shantrina another sec here, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. So you should be able, unless you're on your phone, and that's no big deal if you are, but if you are not on your phone and you were able to separately with your phone, EF has like a little sign-in form that they have here with this QR code. So you can like just scan it really quick and save it for later, or do it now. But I'm going to try and make this meeting really efficient time-wise. So before I kind of introduce myself and tell you what all is included in these trips, as well as show you some pictures and just some personal testimonial information, as well as prices and all that stuff. We've got this, and like I said, I can come back to that QR code as well. Got a short little video from EF specifically. So that's going to be the first part here. So we've got a little introduction. I'm obviously going to share our itinerary, like I said, what's included, as well as information about EF, which is the company that we're going to go through and that we'll travel with, obviously very closely the whole time. They don't just coordinate the logistics, but they are the whole experience. And that includes details like safety and support. And then of course, to me, the very important part when I pay for something is, what is the price? How do I enroll? And what all does this include? The first part is a really great little video. It's very short, and it's got some parent testimonials. So I've got a couple things rigged up here. We also have new monitors. So literally all of your students, if you're a guardian or a parent of a student, all of your students' teachers now look like NASA. If they didn't before, it is like command central. I'm not kidding. This monitor behind is like 36 inches. So hopefully things have rigged up correctly. And I'm going to play this quick little video. I love these personal testimonials.
Brian, can you see me?
I can't see you now.
It says, okay, there I go.
Oh, there you are.
I don't know what I did, but I did something. I think that the EF tours helps kids be willing to try new things and do new things and be
Hold on, I accidentally clicked away.
More accepting and willing to explore new cultures and new people, because I can see her blooming. I can see her little bud and her bloom getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
As parents, it's like you're writing checks for all these things that you do, soccer cleats, show choir, whatever it is that you're doing. This, to me, when I look back now that my kids are in college, is the best thing we did for our kids.
The kids are really very much experiencing things that we as a family could not create on our own in some cases, because we just don't have that kind of access.
It's certainly worth it. And I mean, the price is real. That's what it costs to get to Europe, get to South Africa, get around the world, to eat and have bus transportation and to do things. And so, of course, it's going to cost.
But then you think about it, we're paying this over the course of many, many months. Yeah, we can handle this.
The payment plans were awesome because it made it affordable. It made it reasonable.
Paying on the trip at the beginning really was almost like I didn't even see it and feel it, and I appreciated that.
It was just so easy to decide the payment options, to have the capability of having friends and family help fund the trip.
Empowers us to be able to give our child an experience that we know that will help them become a more rounded person, a more complete person.
I wanted her to practice those skills that I hope that I taught her in independence and being self-sufficient and making decisions for herself.
It's feet on the ground learning the whole time you're there. You're learning about food, culture. You're learning simple things like how to navigate an airport, how to deal with people who are grumpy, how to take care of yourself, find yourself a snack.
Set their own alarm, wake up, get dressed, pack their bags, and be ready to be out by a certain time.
Money exchanges and how to deal with money and how to flush the toilet in Venice, or what to expect before you get off the bus. And those are the things that middle school, high school kids need to know right away.
The ability to go and experience things is great growth. It's an investment for life.
So that is, that's a little sneak peek there at EF Tours. And I am also a really big believer of giving access to things like language, obviously, as a language teacher. I believe all students can learn a language. I believe all students can be successful in a language class and just at school in general. And I also feel really strongly about travel as well and providing access for students. So we're going to highlight 3 trips. And if you hear the floor waxing Zamboni, it's happening right next to my door right now. So they're like riding around, waxing and doing all the things. So hopefully they don't come too close, but such is life, right? If we haven't met at Meet the Teacher, and I know we've got people who aren't in the Gwinnett County School District on here as well. And so as parents, as guardians, just as other adults that are interested in the trip, if we haven't met in terms of the parent and guardian, my name is Meredith White, and I am your student's Spanish 1 teacher. Second semester, I might also be their Spanish 2 teacher, but that is yet undetermined, and I don't have any access to that. I've been here at Peachtree Ridge for 7 years, and I've been teaching for 15 years. So this will be my, I have to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6th trip, my first trip in 2023. We're going to look at 2 2023 trips and 1 2024 trip. So we have some timeline options, which also affects the price, which is really nice. We're a little bit flexible here, depending on your interest and your timeline. So this will be my, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th trip with EF. And I've only ever traveled with them as a company with students. I've traveled with them with adults as well. And you can see on the middle of the slide there, those are my destinations. I've traveled with Education First, the company EF, whose video you just saw, to Cuba, Spain, Peru, France and Spain, Ecuador, and the Galapagos was our most recent trip. And we just did that this past summer, June of 2022. That's one picture from that trip, the top one there on the bus. I'll talk more about the bus later. That was sort of post karaoke on the bus, which the bus is a fun time. And then below that is my very first international trip at 6 years old. So my parents always instilled, I took my first flight at just about 6 months old, and we always had a really strong passion for traveling, saving money for traveling, and also differentiating the trips. So I say that because many students will say, oh yeah, fun, I want to take an international trip to whatever. And I have to come back to how I was raised. I was raised that trips and vacations are very different. Vacation is mom's drinking Mai Tais and don't say the word mom, and she's in the pool reading, and just, vacations are to relax. Trips, on the other hand, I was raised were for exploring and learning and experiencing the world in a different way that wasn't necessarily relaxing. So when I say that, that's also me kind of previewing these trips are not vacations. These trips are exactly that. They are trips. It's up early, it's to bed late, but still kind of early. And it's pretty much go, 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 like they said in the video. So just so you know that up front, even the ones that have like beach type destinations, there's of course some downtime to enjoy that, but it's not like a beach trip. These are some pictures. That's why I travel. And these are some pictures from previous trips. Like I said, France, Peru, there with my llama friend, who nearly spit on me. That was exciting and funny for all involved, apparently, who were watching. That was the smile before the hiss. And then you've got Galapagos and Ecuador in the bottom right-hand corner. So we snorkeled with tortoises and sea lions, and they played with us like almost like dogs would. They were just like super playy and flippy, and oh my gosh, trip of a lifetime. And all of these really. So for the past since 2017, these are pictures from my different EF trips. So EF stands for Education First, and that's who our travel and safety partner is. So they've got over 55 years of experience. And here in Gwinnett County, they've got about that as well. There are several teachers in Gwinnett County who have traveled with EF for 30 years or a little over. They've got a lot of experience, and actually our EF coordinator is a native of Gwinnett County. So we've got local people who know the area, know the schools, and are able to provide some more of that customized service. We're also all around the world. So over 50 countries have an EF office, and the countries that we'll be visiting are included in that list. There are 4 or 5 big travel groups that usually appeal to students and teachers and parents, and EF is definitely one of the leaders. So it's not a small company, and it's not an unknown company either, which I know makes a difference in terms of safety. What's included in each of these itineraries, I'm going to go a little bit quickly through 3, 2 in 2023 and 1 in 2024, but all of them have in common these included elements. The round trip airfare is included, and it's not only just to and back, but it includes any internal airfare. So if we need, for example, in the Galapagos, we flew into Quito, the capital of Ecuador, and then we flew to one of the islands, and then we took several boat rides. It was like planes, trains, and automobiles one day. I was like, literally a bicycle is the only thing we have not like ridden on today. Is like something on 2 wheels. We hit bikes, or we hit like scooters, like boats, planes, all in one day. It was a very long day. But we needed a couple of flights from the islands back to the mainland. Those were included too. That was not extra. So you'll see a couple of the itineraries have multiple flights. That's all included. And the price will not change. Prices could skyrocket. Gasoline could go even higher, which obviously we hope not. But once the price is locked in, the price is locked in. So that's for those flights. Also, all accommodations are included. So hotel stays, as well as breakfast and dinner. Breakfast and dinner will be every night. That will be included. The only one that is tricky and sometimes included, about half the time, is lunch. We will know that closer to the dates. They will say exactly what meals, what days, so that you can budget out, because I don't like surprises when it comes to money, unless it's surprise receiving money, but surprise spending, not exciting. So breakfast and dinner are included every single day, and then lunch will be sometimes on our own, sometimes included as well. We will have a tour director. So if you saw on that picture here, the one taking the picture at the bottom of the picture there, that is our tour director. He is with us 24/7. So he is not leading and guiding local tours. He is with us all the time. He is coordinating everything. He is speaking 1 to 2 to 3 different languages to coordinate all of our logistics and all of our details and to get us where we need to go. He was really, really excellent just overall. And the last day, actually, we were in Quito. There were huge protests and a very, very visible police presence that made like international news. He made sure to get us, he altered our itinerary, got on the phone. 1 or 2 hours later, we had a changed plan for activities for the next day, as well as increased safety measures at the hotel, which was really nice. So it infringed on our free time a little bit. Obviously, safety takes priority. That was no big deal. We stayed in the hotel, we stayed safe, we played some games, and that was it. Everything was fine. There are the lights. See, this is how they fire you. Hold on, let me do the YMCA real quick. So he is with us, he or she, they are with us 24/7. And that's really, really nice to be able to have that person. Oh, my YMCA is not good enough. Okay, well, we might be just stuck. There we go. Ta-da! And like I said, the air conditioning is turned off, which is always exciting. So it's warm and dark up here. So he's with us 24/7. He's with us for the entire trip. And like I said, coordinates everything. We exchange information so we can text if we have free time, all of that. All transportation, like I said, is included. If it's a bike, if it's a boat, if it's whatever it is included and accessible. So there are other different modifications that we can use should we need them. We've had students on wheelchairs We've had students that just got injured right before. We've had some different like arthritis related accommodations, and whatever it is that they can accommodate or whatever we can do to make sure people enjoy the most activities as possible, they will absolutely do. There's no situation that they have not seen or have not had to come up with a solution for before. The local guides are different. So our tour director is 24/7. Local guides is who they drop us off with. So if they drop us off in front of Buckingham Palace in London, a local guide will meet us, say hi, give us whatever we need, if it's like the little headphones, and then we go off for an hour or two with the local guide. So that person is also going to be bi or multilingual, and that is a separate person. If we do anything like that, or when we do things like that, Buckingham Palace, different, sites and all those kind of things, those admission prices are also included. So we're not all standing in front of a cathedral and suddenly you're like, oh, I didn't bring money for that. It's all included. Everything is on the itinerary, and you know exactly where you'll go each day and what you're going to do. And if there's anything extra, you'll also be aware of that far in advance. So like I said, in entrances to landmarks, attractions, and guided sightseeing. So it's not just, here, look, we're at Buckingham Palace, you have an hour to wander around. Because, obviously teenagers are in most of our lives in some capacity, not always a great recipe for success. Just go, learn things, experience. Very guided, and very, again, trip-like, not necessarily vacation. So what you're responsible for, that's what's included. And what comes back on the traveler is a passport, of course. These are all international trips that I'll show you. So that, and we don't need any additional visas for any of these destinations, but like for Cuba, for example, I did, but none of these that applies. Baggage fees, and they will give us the airline information and everything beforehand. So especially if your bag is overweight, like my Europe travelers right before COVID, who had a 77-pound suitcase. She was ready for every occasion with every outfit, but that was a really heavy suitcase. So she had to pay both of those times and regretted it immediately. It was like, I should not have brought all this stuff. So we try to pack really efficiently and light. EF can also provide packing lists, which for Ecuador was a lifesaver, game changer. I texted it to the travelers. I was like, you need to follow this immediately. And we were great. We were ready for all the things, and we were prepared. Like, we didn't take up a lot of room. It was great. The tips for the local guides will also be an amount that I will give you beforehand. So once I get an itemized list of how much we're tipping each day, that's money that I will take up front, not included in the cost, and I will handle the tipping. How the tipping works is we tip per person per day. So our tour director will get X amount of dollars per person per day. So bigger groups, bigger amount, smaller groups, smaller amount, and I will handle all that. You will literally, like a really sketchy exchange, hand me cash at the airport when I see you, and then I will be in charge of that and divvy that out as we go. So that's just some spending money up front. And over the last few trips, it's been on average about $100. So for the whole trip, for every tour guide we see, for everything, pretty reasonable. The last part is snacks and some meals. It's going to be some lunches and also any snacks as wanted. I will also buy snacks and kind of keep some snacks, and water's provided almost always on the bus, especially if it's warmer. So that Costa Rica trip in June, definitely going to be warmer outside. Water for sure will be provided. So snacks and some meals, and of course, any souvenirs. But the students really aren't, because we have to carry things around, we don't see a lot of people who buy a ton of souvenirs, because then you'd be like lugging it the rest of the time. So these are really super, super souvenir heavy trips. And again, so they've got like the health standards, everything with COVID, all of that kind of thing. And like I said, 24/7 support for chaperones, for students, for teachers, for adults, for whomever is involved. They're really, 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 really responsive and really great to work with. The other thing you can do is let me know if you're interested in any of this. We in Gwinnett County cannot give high school credit, but we can help you and give you some the guide that they have for the college essay, or look into possibly who would accept any of the college credit maybe in the future. So that's just something to think about, and let me know if that's interesting for you at all. So as they said in the video, these are just some benefits, like growth mindset. These are definitely things that we see needed in like society and just in humans these days. And I think you'd probably agree too, really like a global perspective, a growth mindset, being curious over being critical, because there's enough of that in the world. So really just looking at how we can use travel to impact our mindset and our action, really important. So there's a lot of subtle learning that goes into our trips. There's also some insurance pieces here. For each traveler, you get global travel protection. There's also global travel protection plus, which costs a little bit more. And then for the group is the peace of mind program. So like when COVID first started, it was like full refunds, they really were responsive. And I think probably took a really big financial hit, but it was the right thing to do. So I've been really impressed with EF as a responsible company. I also had a student who had to cancel his National Guard duties, just changed. So he's actually not able to join us now. And they were able to refund him what he had paid, except for the deposit. And I think maybe like $200. So really, really, really good. All right, let me rock and roll here. Oops, let me go back. There's also, if you're interested or you think family members are interested in helping your student or yourself tour fundraise, EF can also give you a customized webpage link that they will actually be able to donate to your trip. So I think that's pretty cool. And I've had students get the highest I've seen is a little bit over half from friends and family who maybe they wouldn't see normally. But because of that, grandma, Aunt Myrtle, all these different people chipped in, $5, $10, $15. And they were shocked at the fact that they, got over half towards the trip. So EF can also do that. Again, we already said this. These are all the things that you get, and I can send this to you again, back to peruse and back to look over. But that's just a summary of all the things. Here's our first trip, and here comes the floor waxing Zamboni. So it's probably pretty loud. I hope it's okay. Rachel, you're my gauge. You're my gauge for if it's too loud. Let me know if you can't hear me, because he's doing round 2 out there. The first trip in 2023 is Costa Rica. It's going to be Costa Rica with Panama and a little jaunt over to Colombia for just a very, very brief time there. This is the map. So this is what I'm talking about when you see multiple little planes. We're going to go in and then we're going to go out. So we come into Liberia on the far left there, and we go out of Cartagena to come home. So there's the entrance, there's the exit, and the little flight in between from San Jose to Gatun Lake and then to Panama City, that's included as well. So really it's 1, 2, 3, 4 flights are included in that price, as well as all hotel, 2 out of 3 meals a day, and all of the safety and those kind of protections. So this is also the agenda of how many nights we'll stay in each place, which is cool. So you can see it adds up to 12 days total. I always love day 12 in the airport because it is like you've never seen the children more chill than day 12. They're like, can I just charge my phone and please stop talking to me? It's amazing. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. All right, see ya. They are, by day 12, everyone's like a little bit spent because it's nearly 2 weeks, right? Nearly 2 weeks away from home. So everyone's definitely tired by that point. So there's the agenda. And then they also they follow the previous trip's agenda. This is pretty much what it covers and when. You fly into Costa Rica, day 2, little national park, little snorkeling. So you'll see a lot of outdoor time as well. Again, not vacation, definitely a trip. And we bring bug spray and sunscreen and all those kind of things. That is never an issue. We have tons of access to it to buy it or bring it or all of that. But it's definitely active and outside and out and about. We're also going to go to the Arenal region and then again to day 4. We're going to keep exploring. There's a lot of waterfalls in this trip and a lot of really scenic, beautiful scenery in Costa Rica. It's really, really nice. When you see that, you're also going to see when we go to Panama City, a little whitewater rafting there right before we go to Panama City. And we will see the Panama Canal, and we'll also do some walking tours and get kind of a lay of the land there. And then head to Monkey Island as well. After Monkey Island, I know, gosh, all the monkeys, please. They're just the cutest. I'm like, are we allowed to bring one home? Every dog we saw in Ecuador was so cute. And the kids were like, Senora, can we bring? I'm like, you cannot steal a dog from South America. Also, I support you. because they are super cute. And then the dogs obviously were responding in Spanish, which like blew their mind. So it was quite the learning experience. It was really funny to watch them like, so we'll try not to steal a monkey, but they are so darn cute. And then, like I said, it's a cute little jaunt over to Cartagena to see a couple of different neighborhoods there, and then a little beach time. Like I said, day 11, they are going to be ready for a little beach time and probably Wi-Fi by that point. Just like, oh, Senora, leave me alone. I'm going to be laying out here. So there is some relaxing time built in. It's just not a relaxing trip. You got to be careful too. I'm going to be really honest with you, just because I've traveled so much with EF. When it says 12 days, honestly, it's about 10 days of like things, 1 day on the end. So they get you with the 12 days sometimes of like, you'll be there almost 2 weeks. Yeah, kind of. But the edges are like full on travel. So that day 12, that's why it just says travel home, because it's probably going to be like an early morning situation. And then we'll, be taking the flight. They're usually direct. But this past year out of Ecuador, it was Quito to Miami and then Miami to Atlanta. And in Miami, they were just starting to have all the travel delays. Also, the air conditioning was out in the Miami airport, and they were filming 90 Day Fiance. So if you watch 90 Day Fiance, I'm in the back at the American Airlines counter. And me and the students are walking going, what? It's hot in here. And we look, kind of nuts and probably very tired. But it was quite the adventure. That is the first stop I've seen in a few years. Usually they're direct, because Atlanta, obviously Hartsfield-Jackson is a really accessible, busy airport. So we've got some options there. We're lucky that we're not out in the middle of nowhere, which I've seen some people in like South Dakota, where there's only like, they can get to like the capital and they get to one airport and they have to fly and connect, and we don't have to do that. So it's really nice. Same thing with Nashville. I know we've got different cities on here. So yeah, it's like, might be Nashville to Atlanta and meet up, and that's really easy. That's like a 0 time flight. That's the first trip. And of course, they come at you with the food. Don't forget about the food. It's like the second best part, right? These are the dates that we have blocked off for this trip. So this is Costa Rica, Panama, and just the tiniest bit of Colombia in 2023. These are ideally those dates in the middle. My requested dates were June 7th to June 18th. Again, notice it's like 11 days, but the edges are travel. So it's not we're not there for 12 days per se. And they give us kind of a range. So on my calendar, I just blocked off like June 3rd to June 22nd, because it could be any time in those days. But they usually, I've never not gotten my requested date. So I'm not going to even say usually. Every time I've gotten my requested dates, because I also put in the trips really far in advance, like a year or two in advance. So they might be like changed by a day or two, but I've never seen them swing one way or the other. What EF ends up doing, so you saw that travel bus, that was actually 4 different groups together. So there are about 40 of us on the bus. And what they do is they say, okay, school X has 20 people, school Y has 5 people, school Z has 10 people. Great, we got 35 people plus adults, let's rock and roll. And they put different groups together, which is really, really cool. We all get along great and, get really, because it's close quarters, so we get really close by the end of the trip. So these are our dates. We'll find these dates out about 8 to 12 weeks out from departure. They will send the, not the boarding pass, but all the flight information. So basically the boarding pass. They'll send all of our flight information, as well as about 8 weeks out, they send all of the hotel information. So I'm Googling that right away, going like, okay, what does this place look like? Ooh, this looks neat, and all that kind of thing. So they will give us all the details. You're not showing up and just like wondering where you are. That also allows you to give friends and family and whomever copies of those. So should some, like phone service not be available, I've never not had like Verizon when I've done any EF trip, but and Wi-Fi as well, super, super accessible. So not a problem, but should, the phone die or the phone get dropped or whatever, people still know where you are. And we always stick to the agenda, like as is. The only exception was in Quito when, like I said, there were those political protests all of a sudden, swapped agendas, literally texted parents, boom, sent, we're great, everything's safe, we're just switching around, done. Really, really simple. They really protected our time that way. You've got some flexible payment options here. You've got the in full price, you got for students, for adults. So this is June 2023. And they've got a bi-weekly, a monthly, and then an in full amount too. I have done all of the options, and I really like the monthly, and I like the monthly automatic. So that's the one I pick. When I tried to do the manual, I forgot like 2 or 3 payments in a row because it was manual, and I just forgot about them. And they called and said, hey, are you still going? So I don't recommend the manual. I recommend the automatic option if that's a possibility for you. I know it's hard with dates sometimes, and when bills come out and that kind of thing, but if that's an option at all, I really recommend that. And the bi-weekly, I've done the bi-weekly automatic as well, and that was really nice. So that includes the deposit. And there's also, let me pull this little addition here. Yeah, so there's manual payment options or automatic. I recommend the automatic. The $95 deposit will secure a spot, and we've got definitely guaranteed 3 spots available. That's Costa Rica, June, probably mid-June 2023. And the enrollment deadline is not until next Friday. So 9 days from now, because today is August 31st. So there's that QR code for that if you want to scan that, or again, I'm going to send these to you afterwards. So you have these to peruse and have all the information because it's kind of fast. The second trip is going to be Europe, and this is called specifically Multicultural Tour to Europe. And then you might have seen the title too as the Black Experience in Europe. And so what it's doing is this trip is going to trace part of the African diaspora, and it's going to go specifically London, Paris, and Madrid. So this is a really, really neat tour. It's just changed type names a couple of times. And so this is really going to focus on, like I said, that experience and these focus cities. There will be time in Madrid, yay for the Spanish. So Costa Rica and Panama, of course, yay Spanish. As a Spanish teacher, woohoo. And then this trip is mostly not Spanish, but it's Spanish adjacent, right? We got a little French going on, we got a little English, they got a lot in common. We'll go to Madrid, yay Spanish, Toledo, which is a wonderful, wonderful city in Spain, and then Paris and London as well. But we're going to hit 3 of those capital cities there. The highlights are, of course, shown here. The Royal Palace, also some of the local neighborhoods, like Little Africa, the Louvre, of course, and the Eiffel Tower, but, featuring some different artists, because we're going to look at that African diaspora as well. Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, but also Brixton and the Black Cultural Archives Center, and all sorts of different cultural places within those cities. And then I know one favorite of previous travelers who I've talked to is the Sugar and Slavery Gallery. Really, really impactful and really, really beautifully done. So if you can Google any of those, and if those sound interesting to you, I've been to Brixton, and I've been to all of them except for the Sugar and Slavery Gallery, and I'm hoping to get to that this Christmas to preview it beforehand and really kind of, I'm actually gonna kind of like map out the tour in London, because I've been to the other places, but I have not been to a couple of the London destinations. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's gonna be, again, a cultural element of different from the other European tours. Is it's good, like the food, the tours, the neighborhoods, all those kind of things are really gonna reflect that goal of tracing part of that experience. So you've got, like I said, Paris, Little Africa, really cool neighborhood, and just tons of culture. So if there's, I've also invited like some students who are taking French and doing different things like that. So you've got a lot of language and culture here to be featured. Also, like I said, London, these are just some Instagram pictures from different places, different people. It's just obviously to show the visual. And then the Black Cultural Archives, the Heritage Center, and then the Brixton neighborhood, like I said, really, really neat. And then finally, Madrid, we'll actually visit the Royal Palace as well, like the royal residence. Spain still has a king and a queen and a prince and a princess, in addition to the other, the political roles. So we will see, like I said, their official residence. I haven't been there since 2007, so I'm really excited to that particular part of Madrid. And there's also obviously going to be some different religious features. So, for example, in Toledo, which is a really cool city, there's Islam, there's Judaism, there's Christianity. There's so many different intersecting religions and cultures, and just overall identity pieces. So it's a really, really neat city, and small. Like, this is pretty much Toledo in the picture. So it's very walkable, very hilly, but very walkable. and really, really old, really historic. Of course, the food's going to be awesome. And they work to get us in places that obviously hit our price point because we've already paid, but also give us authenticity, local authenticity. I was laughing with some people in the Galapagos trip, some of the parents that came along, because we were laughing and they said, oh, I don't know, this food isn't very, we were at one restaurant that we had gone to twice because we were in keto and then we came back to keto. So we were there like on both ends of the trip. And they said, I don't know how authentic this restaurant is. And I had to laugh because I said, how authentic is any place? When you look around, it's not just tour groups. There are Ecuadorians eating dinner, right next to us. Same thing with McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King. If students ever say, we have lunch on our own, they say, I want to see what McDonald's is like here. Am I allowed to go get McDonald's? Absolutely. There's going to be people from that place who are there eating. So it's not a cop out. It's not like American food, in another country. That's part of it too. What is our influence? And like, how weird is it to be walking down a street of Quito, Ecuador, or San Cristobal, Galapagos, and they can hear Drake and like Lil Baby and Lil Uzi Vert. Like, they're like, I know this rapper. And then it's like Bad Bunny and Beyonce and Billie Eilish. Like, that is what we're talking about when we're talking about culture, is not just, the predictable stuff, but really looking at that intersectionality and how all those things match up. So really, really cool. And a lot of times that comes out with food because they'll say, oh, this tastes just like home. Yeah, some of it is, some of it's not really going to change. This one has also a 2023 date, and this one is mid-July 2023. So pretty much exactly a month later from that Costa Rica, Panama trip. Listen, it's going to be a long summer. I'm going to rest up in between those two and then get ready to go again in July. So this one's mid-July, July 10th through 19th. Earliest it could go would be July 6th. Latest it could come back would be July 23rd. Again, I haven't really seen them stray from that. So we're usually pretty safe with our range. And depending on group size, they will pair us up with whatever group fits. So if there's 15 of us, great, they'll put us with somebody smaller. If we're the group that's smaller, they'll put us with somebody bigger. I've traveled with one traveler. I've traveled with a huge group. So it really depends. It really, really depends. So those are the requested dates for Europe, the Black experience in Europe, tracing the African diaspora in Madrid, London, and Paris, 2023, July. And then the last trip, these prices, let me show you these prices really quick. These are the spring 2023 prices. So my EF travel consultant just changed literally Monday. I got a call Monday that she was shifting positions. So these are the spring. I don't have the updated prices, but these were the spring 2022. So just a few months ago, like April, these were the April prices. So we'd have to math a little bit, but I wanted you to know that the amount is not updated because the amount is very straightforward, and that $333 a monthly is going to be like a little bit higher, but again, still super reasonable for all the flights, 3 European capital cities, 2 meals a day, all the hotel stays, all of those entrance fees, literally every transportation. Right now, I've got flights booked on Google Flight, like to alert me when they go up. Right now, flights to Paris are like $1,400 to $1,500 a piece. And then once in a while, it goes down to $800. And then the next day I'll get an email that it's up to like $2,400. So it's just like super fickle. It doesn't matter if we pay $47.55, or for me, I'm going to pay $52.55 as an adult. It doesn't matter if we pay that and then flights skyrocket to like, that's the flight price. Doesn't matter. We're locked in. So EF gets what they get. So it's a guaranteed price, but that's the finalized price. You would just have to math that between now and July. You can also make payments. I've made like larger payments around like tax return time. So I've done like monthly, like something lower monthly. Like let's say this says $333. I've done like $150 a month. And then tax return, like if I get a tax return, or Gwinnett County in the last couple of years for teachers has done like a bonus in like January. So when that's come along, I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and put that full amount. So these aren't set payments. You can set up your custom amount as it just builds towards that balance. So about a month out, if you're not paid, they'll call you and they'll email you and say, are you still going? Because there's certain things they can at that point refund and can't and all that kind of thing. But they're really clear about that. They're really straightforward, especially after COVID, because like I said, it was like all hands on deck, everyone refunded, no questions asked. So they were really flexible with that. But there's also a $100 discount if you, so this, like I said, this was April. I think this still applies because obviously they know we're having our meeting tonight. So I would definitely ask about that and just tell them you didn't know about it in April, but that was the April price. And then this is the same. We have 3 spots available for that one. And next Friday, so a week from 2 days from now, 9 days from now, is the deadline for that one. And the deposit is the same, $95. The very last trip is going to be 2024 South Africa to, I know, right? To Johannesburg, Kruger National Park, and Cape Town. This is not Spanish related at all, but my teacher friend in Virginia wanted to do this trip with her students. And I said, sure, why not? There's no Spanish involved here, but I said, yeah, I'd love to. Absolutely. I've always wanted to go. And it looks like a really, really cool trip. Here's this map. We come into Johannesburg, we go up, then we go down, and we fly out of Cape Town. So we're going to go kind of like to the right, up and around, and then back. So Kruger National Park will be, and you can see in the parentheses there, they say how many nights we stay there. So it'll be like 2 nights, and then we'll go south toward Cape Town. Oh, really, really cool. This is, again, the little agenda. We fly there, have a little guided tour of Johannesburg, visit the Apartheid Museum, look at the Cradle of Humankind. I'm so excited about that. And then also do some tours of the caves, the Sterkfontein Caves, as well as Long Tom Misty Mountain, and a little toboggan ride, Grasskop Gorge. So any of these places you can Google and you can see the scenery is really, really great. As well as, like I said, Kruger National Park. Lots of wildlife on this one. Also lots of go, go, go. I know one person who has taken it and she just raved about it with students, but said it was definitely the most active tour she'd been on. I was also really glad that they were upfront about the Ecuador and Galapagos trip. So she said the two were similar. She was actually on the Ecuador Galapagos trip as well. And she said the only trip that rivals this in terms of activity is South Africa. And I thought, well, that's good to know. So they always tell you ahead of time, none of these are vacations, but some are more active than others. This is probably going to be like a really early to rise, later to bed situation, you know, some dinner and we're all just sort of like half awake, and it's good because the kids don't really get into shenanigans at that point, right? We're all too tired to like do anything that would get us in trouble. So lots of activities there. There's also a little bit of like sort of safari experience there. There's like an off-road sort of safari through that national park, a bushwalk, and then we head to Cape Town. We see Table Mountain. We do a ferry, so it's planes, boats, trains, and automobiles as well. And towards the end, we'll also see Nelson Mandela's prison cell as well, because that is now a place you can visit and you can see, as well as, there go the lights, as well as Cape Point Nature Reserve. So a lot of things wrapped up in there. Then the last couple of days are the Boulders Penguin Colony, the Botanical Gardens, and then Cape Town kind of on our own, a little bit of kind of coastal time there and a little bit of relaxing time, because again, day 10, everyone's really tired and really spent. And kind of out of spending money. You know, by that time we've budgeted it all. We've gotten, you know, mom, dad, and grandma a t-shirt, and we're ready to rock and roll and head home. So then that 11th day, so it's not only 11 days, it's like 9 days of stuff. Day 11, day 1 are travel days. So really, really cool trip. Lots of fun food. Also, we're thinking, you know, if we're looking at that Europe trip, tracing specifically the African diaspora, we're also looking at like different apartheid elements of South Africa. So a lot of intersectioning histories and cultures and religions and stories that were not always told, stories that are ignored and stories that are not featured. So a lot of things that they probably maybe learned in school, but really some of them are going to be new and they won't have. Especially with as fast as we are at Peachtree Ridge in block schedule, because we know that one day is really like 2 school days at any other school, and they have to go really quickly through some of that curriculum, especially social studies. So it, for a lot of students, I see bridges some knowledge gaps, makes some connections, but also opens them up to whole new banks of knowledge that they had no idea existed. And they're like, Senora, did you know? You know, like, yes, I was aware of that. It's really fun and it makes for fun conversations. This one is going to be also like the Costa Rica one, smack dab in the middle of June. 2024. So June, Costa Rica, June 2023, Europe, July 2023, and then South Africa, June 2024. Same thing with the flexibility, earliest, latest, doesn't really matter. We will know 2 to 3 months out. It was exactly 8 weeks this year. It was about the time I was going to email and say, hey, do you guys have the flight? There they came with the American Airlines info, the flight number, the whole 9, hotel names, everything in a really nice, neat PDF. So those are our requested days. And then the pricing is about the same as the last one. It's a little bit less for the monthly because we're farther out. You'll see the prices are a little bit lower, which I know is appealing for me at least, because again, I'm going to pay the adult price. And so those student prices are on top and then adult prices are on the bottom there. With the discount is for enrolling, and there's actually a $200 discount for this one because it's 2024. So the other ones had a $100 discount. This one has a $200 discount because it's so far in advance. That monthly, like I said, is really nice, includes the deposit, and it's far enough out that it's something to really look forward to, especially after a couple of years. We've all been like indoors, like just trying to do the best we very can. And so I know travel at this point is something really like I'm looking forward to and have been. I mean, Ecuador was like, oh, you'd think I never had been out of the house before going on this trip in June, because it was so nice to be traveling again and with students and just enjoying the world like we were. And it was just really, really great. So super exciting. So these prices, like I said, have those multiple flights, all of those meals, and also all of those like safari experiences and different things. So many things outside also have multiple moving pieces. So not only do you get to the place, you do the thing, you use the equipment, all of these different things, really, really good price. And like I said, everything totally taken care of. This is the QR code for that one. And like I said, the discount is $200 and we have 6 guaranteed spots for this one. So this is a brand new trip to Peachtree Ridge. I do not, if you got the email and you got the invite, your student was specifically invited on this trip. So I'm really, really, I know I've only known these students for a few weeks, but in full disclosure, full honesty, I am really, really specific with who I think would enjoy these different trips, but also really kind of have the maturity and be able to also be with other people from other schools and other places and all those kind of things. So it's a really, really special thing that we do here at Peachtree Ridge, that we're allowed to travel so much. Most of our departments have some kind of international trip or international travel program. They also have national options, but a lot of us choose to go internationally and give students access to those kind of trips. So I'm really thankful for all the support that we have. It's not a quote unquote Peachtree Ridge trip, but it's a Peachtree Ridge like endorsed trip. So it's like Meredith White from Peachtree Ridge is taking students to the following destination. So it's not like an official school field trip, which is great because that means EF handles all that liability, the insurance, the payment, really, really nice. So if you are interested in coming as an adult, absolutely come on. We've got, like I said, these 2 different pricing points. Or if your student's interested and maybe there's cousins that are close, we've had that happen before where, hey, my cousin lives in Virginia, but we're basically like siblings. They just left Georgia. We're still really close. Can they come? Absolutely. Have them sign up, have them enroll. Doesn't have to be a Peachtree Ridge student necessarily. And doesn't even have to be a Spanish student. If you have another child that you're the parent or guardian of, and they're taking French or Chinese or Latin, which we offer here. Obviously the Paris would appeal to the French as well as some of those other parts as well, but they're totally welcome to as well. That is no problem. You can just give them the information and all the things stay the same. So that is the last piece. That last enrollment piece is the last information I have. I don't see any questions in the chat or anything. I hope I used your time well. I tried to give you all the details, be super honest, and give you lots of pictures and lots of experiences and all those kind of things. If there are any questions, I'll hang here for a sec just to be able to see them and see if they are. They're opened on my, like I said, 47th monitor over here. But if not, thank you so much for coming, and I really appreciate all you do. I also appreciate you just being open to this possibility, because I know it's really hard to trust yourself and or your child or a child in your care with someone else. So I really appreciate that, A, you do that every day. And I'm really thankful to teach your child, but also that you would consider doing it for an international trip as well. We've never at Peachtree Ridge, knock on wood, my desk is like fake wood laminate, but we'll pretend, we've never had any kind of issue with students, at least in the last, I don't know of ever, but I can speak definitely in the last 7 years of any students getting sent home early, getting injured, anything like that. And I've only ever been on one trip where somebody sprained an ankle, and I'm not entirely sure that he actually sprained his ankle. I think it was like a little bit dramatic, and he was from another school, and I think he was embarrassed that that he jumped off the thing he was told not to jump off of, and kind of got hurt and kind of fell. So I think it was a little bit dramatic. About an hour later, he came back with like a little bandage and he was totally fine. That is as dramatic as things have gotten on our trip. So our students do a really great job of really representing themselves, their families, and our school well. And I'm always really proud of having a little Peachtree Ridge backpack and, a little Gwinnett County like jacket, having all the merch. I really appreciate how they comport themselves and how they represent us. So it's really nice that if something were to happen, all of that, if you read the travel protection, is included in that insurance. So especially if we're in a place like France, for example, that has healthcare that's included like nationally, a lot of times they'll just take you, to a clinic. There's probably maybe a small fee, $5, $10, $20. That's it. Bing, bang, boom. They'll look at you, no big deal. But all of that's included as well. So any kind of care that someone might need, if something does happen and you need to join us and you need to be flown there immediately, there's also options for that as well. Or someone else needs to join you, you decide to come. There's all those accommodations. There's nothing that they haven't seen. There's nothing that they haven't had to accommodate in 50 years of being in business. And they really, really are a creative and just very, very hardworking company. So I've always had excellent experiences with them. I know there are other companies, but I am not interested in traveling with them. So I choose EF, and there's a lot included. So I'm going to send you this information when we get off here. I will send it as a PDF. It's going to be kind of a long PDF, but it'll be literally every slide. And I hope you're able to join us. And please let me know if you have any other questions. I'll put you in contact with the EF contact if I don't know the answer. So there you go. Thank you so much.